Welcome everybody to the channel, and we are back for Liberty or Death, the Super Nintendo Classic. If you are new to the channel, had a run through on the British side on hard difficulty a few months ago, and now it's time to take a stab at the American side on hard difficulty with a few house rules as well to make it a little bit more challenging. We're doing this just in time to mark the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, which got kicked off in 1775. And so the Declaration of Independence being signed in 1776. So we're going right along with that as the Americans. If you are not familiar with this game, it is from the Super Nintendo. There was a Sega version as well, and I believe a PC version, but this is the Super Nintendo version we're playing. And it is a fantastic game by KOEI. So we are going to jump in here, and we'll go over a little of it for those of you who are new to the game. A little bit about what you're doing in it as we go to get this thing started. If you're back from watching the British series, welcome back. It's good to be back and to do this yet again. And I'm excited to see how this thing shakes out. And if we can have as much success as we did in the British, which we were able to just barely hold on by the skin of our teeth a few times on votes of confidence. So we're going to start a new game here as the Americans under George Washington. That means we have to keep Washington from being captured or being killed because we are George Washington. If either of those happens, we lose the war. You'll notice his leadership is fantastic, which historically speaking, it's hard to argue against that because it's hard to argue that any other man would have been able to hold the army together in the way he did. His tactics are lacking. Makes sense too. He didn't win too many battles. He had a great reputation, which that's one reason he got the job to begin with. And his discipline is fantastic, which given the fact that he would really crack down on all kinds of things in camp, that makes sense as well. So here we are. He's richly admired for his cunning and bravery during the French and Indian War. Political dealings have broadened his experience and popularity. So we are going to confirm him as the commander-in-chief. And we are going to make sure we have the fast wait time. We will be on a hard difficulty because it's just the three options. The view battles, we are saying no because these are battles we are not involved in with just involving militia. So we're not going to watch those. We will view animations and we will leave the advice on because that's just where it will say, hey, the merchant's in town, or hey, so-and-so is weak. Maybe you should attack. You don't have to listen to them, but you can. All right, let's jump in, and I am excited to get this thing going. This is a game that I played all the time when I was growing up, and my friends, and we still do periodically. So we get this thing started by meeting with the Continental Congress in summer of 1775. Now, we have to keep the Congress happy to make sure they do not do a vote of confidence and kick us out. That's another way we could lose the game. The way we win is by occupying all of the American colonies. Now, a couple house rules I'm going to instill, and if you have any other suggestions, please let me know, and we'll see about maybe doing that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two of them. I'm going to allow myself to not use joint attack by the Navy. I can use transport, and I can use command of the sea. Now, if you remember the British one, if you were there for that, you know that the Navy saved our butts quite a bit up in Canada. So we can still have the transport to defend, but we are not going to be able to have joint attack along the coast. The other house rule I'm doing is whenever we win a battle, if we capture anybody, I'm only going to allow myself to capture and imprison one of the ones that we capture. And if I choose to imprison anybody, it has to be the first one that pops up, like the main general or whoever the highest ranking official is. That is because the British do not have quite as good of pool of officers as the Americans do. So that's going to make it a lot more challenging as Clinton and Howe and those guys are going to be out and about over and over and over again potentially. So we're going to have to dwindle them down a little bit slower and make sure we have some strong armies because they will probably pop up behind us since they can land with their fleets anywhere. So we have a very, very small budget to start. We are going to ask for help from John Adams, the Secretary of War, and we're going to go with the South. These are the only Continental regiments we can get this whole game, in the south. It's going to be Lawrence and McIntosh. By putting them in the south early, it gives us a chance to stop the British there and also to recruit militia, especially Francis Marion when he comes out, because we are going to want to get Francis Marion whenever we can. And the Marine Committee, we don't have any boats yet, so he can't do anything because he's got a kitchen knife. We're just going to keep the salary at normal. We will spend some money on our fleet. The first fleet is going to have one ship. That's all we're going to do. One ship, because we want to put a little bit more money into the regiments. Okay, so first thing we get to see after doing a Congress, who controls the 3 regions, sea territories. And of course, the British with their massive fleets are going to control the north. The best we can really hope for is to get an open sea. They control the middle colonies. And we do have free from naval control in the south. It's not going to play a big role, but it's good to see nonetheless. So we don't have any. Now, one thing you'll see with the map, the dark blue are the regions we are going to control. The green are our militia. They are on our side, but we do not have direct control over them unless we are in a battle that we start and we have higher ranking officers. The solid red are the British regulars, while the polka dots are the British loyalist militia. So we start with here at Ticonderoga, which, if you know your history, Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold both captured it from the British before Henry Knox brought the cannon back to Boston. And so we have Ethan Allen and Benedict Arnold right here. One thing we have to be careful about, I'm not going to furlough him yet, but Arnold's loyalty is not very good. So that is a concern of ours. We don't want to furlough him yet, though, because he might, he could, we could get attacked. And if we get attacked and we don't have him and we lose, he gets captured. So we want to be careful about that. Let's start by getting food. We need to make sure we have that. And then we're going to train up our soldiers. They will probably not come at us from Canada too soon, but we're going to make sure we are well armed, because one thing we are going to want to do is we're going to want to launch an attack at Fort Stanwix, which is number 16. And if we can send Arnold down there, he can help us get rid of the Butler boys and free up some help to our south. Okay, we do need to get Boston. Oh no, Boston broke out. If you have never played this game before, the one thing as the Americans you try to do is you want to have Springfield and you want to attack Boston so you can wipe out the British Army. Now, granted, even though we were only going to be able to capture one of them to begin with, we do not want them breaking out of Boston, because that makes things a lot tougher. And they just took 2 very good militia regiments off the board. Well, that changes what we were going to do. We're going to start with a furlough. We have 2 officers here who their loyalty is rough, and that is Charles Lee and David Mason. Horatio Gates, his isn't all that great, but being at 50, we can let him sit for a little bit. Well, we could still attack, but my concern now is if Gage is not there, we could run into a big hurt. So let's drill our boys. That is some really good training that we have there. All of these guys. So when you're training, you're looking for discipline. If you have discipline, they will train faster. We're going to build a cannon for Henry Knox. We'll get Knox to build himself his own cannon. He is our 1 artillery unit, and he does not have a cannon. So we need to make sure we have that, because artillery without a cannon is very ineffective. We have no food and we have no powder. Ooh, boy. But then breaking out of Boston, like I said, that totally changes the dynamic of this game. Many times growing up, if that ever happened, I would just reset because it makes it a lot more difficult. Let's buy some food to start. If we don't have food, we're going to be dead. That's not that much. We still don't get enough food. All right. Well, that throws us for a loop. And again, we don't have food down here. William Thompson is solid. Him and Sullivan both are very good. We need to train Thompson. All right. 1,000 will be enough. We might just abandon some of these places. Okay, so what we will see here we have training. That is how well trained they are. Arms are how many the percentage that they have in weapons that they actually have. You want that number to be up to 100 if you can. And then the last one there is morale. Here we see body, loyalty, and reputation. Reputation means they can, when they do parades, gazettes to try to raise support, they're more effective. Loyalty, you want them to be loyal because then they won't cause trouble and try to desert. And then the body is how many points they have to do stuff each turn. So to do training, you'll see in the bottom it says body of 40. Well, Thompson and Sullivan both have 95 and 80, so they can do that and do more later on. There's the number of men they have and the type of unit they are. They are both infantry. And here you see their leadership, tactics, and discipline. Thompson having 100 discipline means, actually both of these are really good. They're both going to train their men up very quickly. And what we are going to do, we're going to move out of Long Island. And we're going to move to Hartford so we can try to recruit some of this militia. We're going to take everything with us. We also need to get up to Springfield. Now that Boston's broken free, we need to get supplies up there. We need to be ready to defend against an attack. We are also going to move out of White Plains. We're going to move them to Albany. The goal being to knock out that militia before we redirect towards the east. So we got Schuyler and Alexander at this one, two very good generals as well. The Americans are loaded with great generals early on, and that's one reason, and there's a lot more coming. So that is one reason why I have those house rules in place. It'll make it much more challenging. Return Meigs. We're going to abandon this spot with him and move to Albany because Meigs is about to get attacked anyways, and we are just going to try to consolidate some of our forces, get together a couple of strong armies to combat the British. Aaron Burr. That's another one. We need to buy food and powder and everything else that we can. Nathan Hale is here as well. Both are decent. Both need to be trained. We're going to use Hale because we want to train both of them. And if we use Burr, he won't have the 40 body points needed. It only takes 20 to buy things. So we're walking through this first turn here so people can see how things go and also to see how I'm setting up my army, setting up the forces. Later on in the series, just like I did with the British one, if we're just going through building and resupplying and training for a while, we'll skip through those. But for now, we need to see what's going to happen because we also don't know what the British. And there is our man, Nathaniel Greene, by far the best general in the game. In my humble opinion, love this guy. Read a book about him several years ago. Look at that. Leadership 91, Tactics 100, Discipline 90. He's the one who defeated Cornwallis in Virginia, in the Carolinas in real life. So we are going to get him trained up. Of course, we're going to buy ourselves some food and powder. We're going to hope the British don't come attack. Because if they do, we're going to have to retreat. You can, whenever attacking and defending, you can get help from 2 adjacent territories. So we could get help here, but it would just be Nathaniel Hale coming, and that's not that impressive of a person. I don't want to vacate Rhode Island, though. I'm afraid if we do that, we're going to lose too much support, and we're going to be in for it right off the bat in our first Continental Congress. Let's go ahead and get some powder. We're going to be needing that Springfield. The other good thing when you attack Boston, and even though I was going to have to release everybody, it would have made them go away for a little bit. We could have consolidated, and you get a ton of supplies from Boston. So that would have been great. Okay, we're going to furlough some of these guys. Glover and Knowlton, their loyalty's bad. We're not going to be able to recruit them. If we furlough them, let them come back with higher loyalty, they are easier to recruit into our army where we will have direct control. The other one there, Worcester, he is already way up in loyalty, so he'll be an easy one to recruit when the time comes. All right. Now it is time to go into battle. We're going to drill first with Mr. Montgomery here. Anybody who can, just him. Daniel Morgan's another fantastic one. Him and Nathaniel Green work together. Montgomery, he was a promising one. I think it was Scottish, actually. I can't remember. But he gets killed on the invasion of Quebec early in the war. Him and Arnold were launching that invasion, and he does not make it. Okay, we're actually going to send everybody to fight. Then from there, we can start to kind of spread out. But for now, we're going to send everybody. We want to win this and go from there. I actually think with the Americans, we get a lot of militia at times as well. So one thing I'm going to do is try to maybe consolidate a few armies. We won't spread out early, but as we get some of these lesser officers start to show up, if we can recruit, those are going to be our holding units. The risk with that, if we're not occupying territories, we don't get as much money, and we run the risk of a vote of confidence happening against us. Okay, so with the battles, we're going to keep Arnold right there just to scare him. So we got the Butler brothers here, Walter and John. So we can see what all of the qualifications are, what the stats are. Here you have John Butler. He is pretty good. Guerrilla troops also fight better at night. Walter Butler, not as good, but they do fight better at night. The wooden forts are actually stronger than the stone forts. You'll see here, Daniel Morgan being a guerrilla unit, he can move on any of these territories, forests or mountains. When they're white like that, they launch ambushes if they get the ability. So Montgomery infantry cannot move into forests or mountains. You'll see they have movement points as well. Based on their discipline and their training, that changes. The plains take 3 to move on. Hills take 5 to move on. Forests take 4. Mountains take 5, I believe. Takes 4 to move into forts as well. We're going to keep Arnold over there. The whole point of him being there is to just surround them to try to capture them. So we are moving our forces. We are not going to attack him at night unless it's with Daniel Morgan. Because like I said, I have learned over the years that it is, no matter how bad the guerrillas are, if they are at night, they always perform better. So we have to be careful with that. Okay. Plus, I don't want to get Arnold fighting here because I want Ticonderoga to stay fairly strong. I do not want to lose Ticonderoga. Actually, I don't want to lose any more territories. Losing Heath and Stark is a big blow. They are really, really good officers to recruit. And now we have all those British guys that are out there. We don't know where they'll bring in. They almost always get 8 to 10 new units. whenever they get their first wave of reinforcements, because they'll get all the Hessian troops that they can. I think there are 18 Hessian units. That may be a little high. Maybe there's only like 14. Still, they usually get them right away. So the first few quarters, they bring in a lot of reinforcements. We are going to save our best for Mr. Butler down here. John Butler. He's stronger than Walter. So we need to get our forces ready to go fight him in the daytime. So we're going to get Montgomery up here. We will surround them. And hopefully get out of this fight by capturing both of them. Now remember, you can only capture one of them. The good thing is with militia, they will only appear in their state or next to their state. They can only serve in those areas. So even letting them go, if we gain New York, we don't have to worry about the Butlers anymore because they are New York Loyalist militia. Okay, now we have to be smart with our turn with our point values. So we'd move 5, 3. We are not going to move around them at night. That's a no-no. Now, battles only are allowed to take 15 days as well. Each day constitutes 6 turns. And depending on where you're at and what the season is, those turns will change. Sometimes they'll be shorter. Sometimes the days will be shorter. Sometimes the daylight will be longer. Nighttime then is the other. So 3 and 3 is generally what you end up with. But in the summer here, we will have 4 days of light a lot of times, as opposed to just, oh, when we captured him, we didn't even have to put up much of a fight. Oh, we captured them both. Awesome. We are going to capture if it's, now again, the first one is the only one I can keep. John Butler, we will not release because he's their better one. I have to release Walter Butler, but that's okay. I always release him anyways because he's not as strong. And with that, we've won our first battle, but here we go. Oh no, we're into July 16th. So every turn is also the 1st and 16th of every month. Every quarter, July, October, January, and April, we have another Continental Congress going. Okay, so that actually started out pretty decent for us. Part of me wants to go ahead and furlough Arnold. But I think we're going to wait to do that until Montgomery can move his forces up there. We are going to try to move everybody up to Ticonderoga whenever the opportunity arises. That is not the case right now, so we're going to wait another turn, move them all up there then, and then that will be one of our major armies, with the other one being under Mr. Washington here, but we don't have the resources we need. The training is there, that's for sure. All right. We're going to hold off. We might launch an attack at Boston next turn. But they need more resources to be able to do that. Can't train with Mr. Green either. Oh, they've moved into Norwich. So they're moving out of Canada. That means they're spread out a little bit there, actually. Let's buy some powder this time. Just enough to have more than we have men. Ooh. This is going to be interesting. All right. Let's go ahead and... Oh, we can't recruit. Thompson doesn't have enough bodies, so it's only the first person that can recruit. We're going to try to recruit Wooster whenever the time comes. Wooster is also going to be one of those officers that we will probably leave behind. He's not that great, So it's okay if we leave him behind somewhere. Christopher Green will be one we leave behind. Aaron Burr will probably be one that gets left behind. We've got some foreign governments sending us aid. That's good news. We don't get any new regiments, though, anywhere. Thomas Conway wants to come. He is horrible. He's not any good. His loyalty is junk. And he tries to get rid of George Washington sometimes when things aren't going well. But he is a body. We could use him to just... Nah, we don't want him. It's not a great loss. Give us Duportail. He's amazing. Oh, we get new regiments now. And in Rhode Island, nonetheless. Interesting. Don't usually get them there. New Jersey, Virginia are both finding militia coming. That's good news. Who did we get? Varnum. He's not too bad. These are actually all fairly serviceable. Whedon I love because of his discipline down there. Dayton's solid because of his leadership and discipline. These are all decent officers. Varnum is one that I don't get very often because it's rare that Rhode Island is threatened like this. So that's really good to see. So we could try to recruit him. I don't know what his loyalty is like. It's only 56, which is not very good. So he's another one we're going to have to furlough to increase that loyalty so we don't have to spend money to recruit him. We're going to let Christopher Green train as well. We're going to have Varnum train again before we send him on a furlough. Now, one thing I could do to get us more... Well, no, Rhode Island doesn't have a ton of supplies. I was thinking we could attack with Nathaniel Green here. All right. Varnum. We'll do 3 turns with you. It does. You do lose them for those turns, but at the same time, the morale will go up and we will get an officer very easily. Let's, you know what? Let's do a parade with Green instead of training him. So the parades will get a support. You'll see the thumbs up icon down there in the bottom left. That shows us the local support. The more support we have, the more the governors will like us, less likely they are to vote against us, and the more money we will bring in at the Continental Congress. All right. Not the best, but we'll take it. All right. Now let's try to start recruiting. Thompson's going to be a 3rd army. We're going to have him moving around. Wooster at 90 means we don't have to spend anything to get him. He should come along right away. There we go. So we have Wooster. We're going to need to amass some armies to go do some fighting, though. His stuff is good enough. We're going to let him sit. 90's fine. Let's get some food. We'll get plenty of food this time. And we will get some powder as well. Arms are more expensive, so we're not going to do that at the moment. There we go. I always end up with 01. I never bother to go get rid of the 1. It's just always been a personal way I play. All right. Let's see what we got here. Burr and Hale can't do anything. Good to know. Ticonderoga is slowly getting encircled up here. I don't like that they have these new forces surrounding us. Now, one thing we can do to increase Arnold's loyalty if we make it to October, we do have the ability to give him, hopefully, if we can do a promotion, we can promote him. And if he becomes a general, his loyalty will go up as well. So that's another thing we can do. We're going to go ahead and get powder, stock up. We might need to go attack with Montgomery. If we can, launch another attack against Albany. That's what I was just thinking, sir. We won't have Daniel Morgan with us, but they will not be trained, and they will get us supplies. We're going to take everything with us because Morgan's going to be left behind by himself. Oh, we can bring Springfield along. That's good. Make sure we get them because I don't know what they've moved out of Canada. And we don't know what they have here because I don't really spy too often. All right, we're going to bring Knox for sure. We'll bring Cadwallader and Tillman. Our lesser ones, just a few. We don't need to have a huge amount. Oh yeah, this is going to be nice. Victories will help us with the Board of War, but we need to occupy places to get more money. But unless we can occupy the whole state, honestly, it's not going to matter too much. All right. Oh, it's just one guy. Guy Johnson. He doesn't have a boat. Not trained because he just popped up. So this should be quick work. We do need to let Tillman get in there before Knox. I do want to keep fighting these battles because one thing I am nervous that we don't have Boston and we're not occupying and spreading out a lot of territories. I'm nervous that the Congress is not going to really be happy with us and they could do a vote of confidence right off the bat. We are on hard difficulty. They can get a little picky and a little demanding on this difficulty level. So we'll see how that goes for us. Hopefully they'll be understanding and reasonable, but we know how Congress can be. All right, Tillman's moving up there nicely. We'll get Cadwallader up there. We can... Oh, we got to be careful about our barrage because Johnson can move right through the forest and those other... Oh, yeah, we got to be careful. He will probably try to retreat right whenever we get there, is my guess. Yep, there he goes. So we don't get to capture him. John Johnson is gone. He's going to go back up to Albany, most likely. And he did. Now the question is, they are spreading out. I think we go after Boston. I think we go after him. Let's do it. Let's see if we can win in Boston. Before we do, did anybody have the ability to train and battle? Nobody has 80. Okay, we're going to take Knox and Washington for sure. Washington, Gates, Thomas, Ward. We're going to leave. Actually, we're going to leave Washington because he needs to be in charge. And otherwise, Lee will be back and his furlough goes away. Tillman, Cadwallader, we'll send all these. If we win this, we'll be okay. So we only need 1,700. Oh, we got to take all this powder. Powder's going to be the big issue for us. We can send Christopher Green up there just to provide some target practice. Keep them distracted from our main force. Getting Boston is key because it protects Rhode Island. It protects Connecticut. A decent amount anyways. I'm hoping they spread out not just up to Portsmouth, but they spread out to number 4 Fort Western and got a couple more units up there. I'm also hoping they don't have their fleet. They do. That's a shame. We'll get Washington there. Now, hopefully Gage is here. So one thing is when you defeat the commander-in-chief, which is Thomas Gage, when you defeat the commander-in-chief, they all surrender and you get them all. Oh, it is Gage, and he's by himself. Even better. Hugh McKenzie is up there. So one thing we are going to try to do is we're going to see if we can't take down McKenzie some as well here. We're going to win this battle. The key is minimizing losses and keeping away from that fleet. The fleet can fire 2 squares away. So right here, it could hit down here, 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 here and so on. So we need to be careful. It is 60 ships strong. Now, if we had joint attack and we had a fleet, we would have a fleet of our own. But again, I'm not going to allow myself to do that. We're going to do command of the sea or transport. So the only time we're going to have a fleet like that is when we have a transport going on, which is not going to happen too very often. Mackenzie's going to be coming along very soon. We could take William Washington up there, actually, to go try to strike him. Maybe that's what I should do, actually. Let's get Washington up there. He can help through the forests. We'll pull back one more. Gage is going to leave at some point. So we can take out some of Mackenzie first. We'll do that. All right. Let's see here. We can try to entrench. Doesn't work. I'm going to hold off. I want to get some shots in on him. Ooh. A little bit more brutal than I expected. There's a lot of powder and food here. There we go, Mr. Knox. Washington can do a charge from the forest. That should be very effective. Oh, there we go. So we're weakening them as well before we take down Gage. So Portsmouth won't be quite as strong. I'm assuming since they're only sending one to reinforce, Howe, Clinton, Pidgeot, those guys all must be, Asgill's one of their starting ones. Those guys must be moving to Fort Western. Beautiful. Let's finish him off. If we can capture him, we'll take it. If we do capture him, I kind of hope Gage gets away, though, because I don't want to keep Gage. And we'll release Gage no matter what. But if I release him, I can't capture Mackenzie. So we weaken him sufficiently, though. That's good news. Now we just need to be able to beat Gage before that fleet comes down. No bridge. All right. Let's see what we've got. Where's the fleet? Oh, he retreated. But we caught him. So we are going to let Gage go because he is a pitiful officer. And he can get us some money. So 132, we'll take him. We will take that money, release him. And they are spreading all throughout the north. Whew. Let's take a look at the map here. So we have a nice line here. We maybe don't want to vacate Albany. That line's pretty good for us to hold. Thompson can take his men from Hartford down here to Monmouth. Try to hit New Jersey and defend Pennsylvania from anybody in the future. But he could also be very, very valuable up here in the north because they're going to load up somewhere. I don't know where they're going to load up. But we got Montgomery ready to go. They're kind of spread out. We can get Boston can continue to push northward. They should have sufficient supplies now. Nathaniel Greene fairly soon can move up, I'm hoping. And that is looking good. So we've got a good start to the campaign here. We're going to wrap this episode up here because I don't know how much longer it'll be before we get another fight. So I want to thank you all for tuning in on this first episode. Be sure to, if you haven't already, subscribe so you get those new videos popping up even easier for you to find as we go. Leaving likes will really help this first video go and the series go as well. It's a classic. Not many people probably know about it. So getting it out there would be really good to help it grow and to see who else can find this gem of a game. And those of you who are returning back again, welcome back. And let's take this one and see if we can win as the Americans this time to celebrate the 250 for the anniversary of the revolution. So with that being said, thank you all for joining me on this one. Come back on that next episode. We'll be back each week here on Wednesday. Until then, take care and have yourselves an awesome day.